All right, hey guys, welcome to the video. If you're new here, my name's Curtis, and today we're gonna be talking about 5 fragrances that share one thing in common. Let me name off these fragrances and see if you can figure it out. Papilefiko, Malamata, Vanille Leather, Portrait of a Lady, and Flower Lust. Do you know the answer? Yes, Dominique Ropion. He perfumed all of these fragrances, so if you're curious to hear my thoughts and opinions on these fragrances, then let's go. First up, from the house of Frederic Malle, we have Portrait of a Lady. This is a true masterpiece. It has stood the test of time. I think this one was released, over 10 years ago for sure, maybe 10 or 12 years ago, but man, this is such a special one for me. And I've told this story a few times on the channel before. I used to be someone who shied away from rose because I saw that note as being a bit too feminine for myself. And when I experienced this fragrance, it completely switched my mindset and my thought about rose fragrances. And this is the fragrance that introduced me and really kind of helped to push me down that path of enjoyment for rose fragrances. This is a special one. This is definitely a spicy rose. It's combined with a bit of patchouli. You have some incense in here as well. And you have a few ambery notes in the base. But for me, the way this one kicks off my skin, it's definitely rose dominant with that patchouli. This is quite dark and seductive. And I tend to wear this fragrance in the evening time when I'm a bit more dressed up. I have a collared shirt. But man, this is a stunning fragrance. And, I think a lot of people, they might see the name Portrait of a Lady, especially guys, and they'll kind of shy away. Oh, this fragrance must be for women. No, this is a unisex rose fragrance. I will say this, it definitely takes a confident, if you're a guy and you're planning to wear this, I'd say it definitely takes a confident gentleman to pull a fragrance like this off, but it is easily worn by men just as it is women. This is unisex right down the middle, in my opinion. Such a stunning rose fragrance that, for me, this is a masterpiece. It will always be in my collection. And yeah, I can't get enough of this one. And like I said before, it just holds a special place in my heart because it put me down that path of, really enjoying and appreciating the note of rose. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Portrait of a Lady by Frederic Malle. Next up, from the house of roos&roos, we have Malamata. All right, so this fragrance is one that I've been hitting extremely hard recently because I feel like it fits so well in these spring temperatures. Like, this fragrance just screams spring. This is a bouquet of aromatic, green, roughage, leafy goodness. There's also some florals that are mixed in here. So my image of this is if you have some fresh green leaves that have just fallen off the tree. They're not brown, they're green. They're basically in a pile. You pick them up, put them up to your face, smell them, throw them in the air. And when they're dancing around in the air and falling back to the ground, they're mixed with some lovely florals. And that's one thing that Dominique Ropion does so well. His incorporation of florals into this fragrance mixed with those bright green, kind of roughagey, leafy notes that he has in here is just absolutely gorgeous. This is such a refreshing fragrance. And I remember when I first smelled this one at the Nose Shop in Tokyo, I was just blown away because, number one, I'm a huge lover of green fragrances, and I didn't really have a green fragrance in my collection that smelled quite like this. So, man, completely taken back, and I knew that I was going to add this one to my collection, so I quickly did. But man, if you're someone who loves green fragrances with a touch of florals, and you're looking for a bright, refreshing, crisp fragrance to wear in the spring and summertime, then definitely check this fragrance out. It is a stunner, and I don't hear a whole lot of people talking about Malamata or the house of roos&roos in general, so I feel like it's very underrated, but this is a stunning one and definitely one to check out. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Malamata by roos&roos. Next up, from the house of BDK, we have Vanille Leather. So yeah, as you can see here, I just got a little 10 ml sample, but you can see I started to put a dent in this fragrance. I do really enjoy the wearing experience. And just one thing first, before I dive into this fragrance, that's one thing I love about the House of BDK is they sell 100 ml, but also 10 ml bottles. And for me, the best option was the 10 ml. You know, as you guys know, I'm quite limited on space as I live in Japan here, so I don't have a whole lot of room to store my fragrances. So whenever I can score like the smaller bottle size, that's definitely what I try to do. But man, Vanille Leather. Okay, I feel like the name's a little bit misleading because I don't pick up a whole lot of leather from this fragrance. So what I do pick up on is some violet leaf, orris, and some vanilla. Yeah, this gives off vibes of kind of a powdery, slightly sweet vanillic fragrance is what this gives me. Now, the leather, I feel like if it's here, it's pushed very far back into the background of this fragrance. And so, I don't know, to my nose, it's just not something that really pops. This fragrance is more about that orris and vanilla that's blended extremely well here. And off the top, you're definitely getting that violet leaf as well. And I feel like that violet leaf is also adding to that orris, and it's helping to give this fragrance even a bit more of that powdery-like vibe. But man, this is a gorgeous one, especially if you're looking for a fragrance that's sweet but doesn't necessarily push into that gourmand territory. This is a beautiful wear. And this fragrance, even though it kind of pushes down that line of being slightly sweet, there's something underlying about this that's giving it even like a slight fresh and clean type of vibe. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Vanille Leather by BDK. Next up from the House of D'Orsay, we have Flower Lust. Man, so this one is just deep, warm, slightly sweet, peppery, and spicy with hints of florals dancing around. Man, and the first thing that I thought of when I smelled this fragrance was Papilefiko. The two fragrances aren't the same by any means, but they kind of push in a similar direction, but then they kind of veer off and go off on their own ways. But man, this fragrance is so uplifting. And I'll say this, I feel like this one is unisex. It leans slightly feminine, but gentlemen, you can easily pull this one off as well. There's something, you know, it has that touch of florals, but there is something also creamy about this one. I think you have some benzoin and sandalwood as well, and that sandalwood's helping to provide that creamy base to this fragrance. You know, this is a fragrance that you can reach for when you want to be seductive and have that aura of confidence about you. Man, reach for a fragrance like this. And this is one of the newer fragrances from the House of D'Orsay. I think early last year they had released 3 extracts. So they released Flower Lust, Tonka Hysteria, and Incense Crush. And so I also own Tonka Hysteria, which is absolutely amazing. But yeah, Flower Lust is the other one that I have from the extract line that is just stunning. So yeah, D'Orsay is one of those houses that, you know, really believes in true French perfumery. And I think, you know, of not their extract line, but their regular line, you know, they are very elegant perfumes. You know, they're not too loud. A lot of them kind of function as skin scents in a way with like moderate projection. And, you know, I wouldn't say that Flower Lust is a beast mode performer in any way, but it definitely pushes out. And I think it's a bit louder than their normal regular line of fragrances that they have. But man, this is a stunning one and I absolutely love it. It's quite versatile. You can wear it in most seasons. For me, I would stay away from this one in the summertime just for the climate that I'm at here in Japan, but I can easily wear this one in the fall, winter, and spring. It fits perfectly in those types of seasons. But man, this is a stunning one and definitely one to check out. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Flower Lust by D'Orsay. And finally, from the House of Nichane, we have Papilefiko. Yeah, so this fragrance is quite spicy. You do have that heavy blast of cardamom in here and coriander. And I think in the mid, you get a bit of lavender, and then in the base, you have some moss. And that's kind of where this fragrance, I feel like, kind of borderlines, like almost pushes into that fougere type of lane, but not quite. You know, you do have that lavender and moss, which is almost kind of, you know, making it go down that path. But yeah, I wouldn't necessarily classify this as a fougere, but it almost pushes in that direction. But this fragrance does smell quite balsamic. There's a balsamic quality about this fragrance. So if you're someone who doesn't really like balsamic type of smells or fragrances, you might want to kind of steer clear of this one. But man, this is a lovely one for sure, and definitely one of the top fragrance releases from the house of Nichane, in my opinion. Yeah, so this one is definitely one that garners compliments for me when I wear it in the right setting and mood. Yeah, it just does the trick. You know, you can wear this one casually or dressed up. It is quite versatile. And I would say this one is unisex, but it pushes slightly masculine in my opinion. But it's a stunning one and definitely one to check out. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Papilefiko by Nichane. All right, guys, so that's all I have for you for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed today's content, and let me know down in the comment section, what are some fragrances that you have in your collection that were perfumed by Dominique Ropion? I'd love to hear about them. Well, I hope you guys are staying healthy and well, and I'll see you in the next video.